Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter, of course, at DFS Jerusalem, breaking down for you a very weird slate of games. Last night we got a 6-game slate to go over. We're going to go with the regular formatting of the show, but first, just want to take a moment to get into a little bit of strategy with you. I talk a lot about my core four plays, where I start my lineups. The bread and butter, the absolute essential to the DFS Sweatshop, and my mission, what I'm trying to do is to instill two items to all of our subscribers, all our followers, all the family out there. Number one is, of course, our bankroll management. Now, this is key because you've got to have money to show up every night in a very long NBA season, and you can't fall too in love with just the gambling aspect, if you want to call it that, for lack of a better term. But this is the whole point. The way it's set up, the way the core four system and the bankroll management are set up together, you're going to be right 4 of 10 slates. 4 out of the 10, you're going to be right. Because you know sports, you know DFS, you're going to be right 40% of the time. A dead clock is right twice a day. You're smarter than that, right? You're going to be right 4 out of 10 times. And what I want you to be able to do is, if you implore the bankroll management strategy that we've been set out for us, as well as the core 4 roster building strategy, where you take 4 guys you really like. You go to the industry, see what everybody else is talking about. You grab 2 guys from there, and then you look at what the NBA gives you as far as injuries. Key example, speaking for myself today, Gordon Hayward being out, that gave me Joe Ingles. I had Joe Ingles in a lot of spots. He played really well. Another play that I thought the NBA had given me was Zach Randolph. With the news of Marc Gasol, the uncertainty surrounding him, I didn't think he was going to be able to play, so I went Zebo everywhere. It didn't work out well for me. It didn't. Wasn't a very good night in the sweatshop, but that's where I got those 2 plays from. 2 plays, those are just examples. 2 plays that the NBA gives me. The 2 industry plays we look at are 2 guys that are going to be the chalk. 2 guys that the bigger sites are talking about all day long, and they kind of move the needle over in those guys' direction. So we roster 2 of those too. Those 4 guys, along with our core 4 plays, are what builds up our DraftKings 8-man roster. Now, this is absolutely able to do in FanDuel as well. I did do it tonight. I do it often. I even do a little hedging between sites. We talked about that some on Twitter today. But that's just to give you a little taste of the way we become a profitable DFS player. That is the goal. Many people, some people are going to make millions winning these big tournaments and the 150 lineup guys, and they're going to make millions. That's not going to happen for all of us, but many of us can become profitable day-to-day daily fantasy sports players. I'm one of them. I am living proof. You've seen it, and you know that it is working. It's working for you. Guys hit me up on Twitter tonight like, yo, 300 club, I'm in 300. Now, I didn't have a really good night, but these people will tell you that through the roster building strategy, and that coupled with the bankroll management strategy that we've applied, they're profitable. They're profitable. We're not going to all have a good night at the same time, but we're all going to have good nights. And we're all going to have bad nights. It's just that as tournament players and single entry GPP players like me, my good nights are 10, 12, 15, 20 times my buy-in, as you've seen before. And this is not to slight anybody that plays cash games. Cash games are perfectly fine to play. Those are the safest games to play. Those will help you build your bankroll gradually. But me, I like mine's all or nothing. I want to win a lot or I want to lose. Either way, that's just the way it is for me. So let us go into the regular formatting of the show. We're going to start with our core 4 review. This is where, just to create that transparency from me to you, I want you to know that the guys that I'm talking about are the same guys I'm playing. I will go ahead and go through that, and I always show you my lineups so you know exactly the type of guy that I am, that I have the honesty and integrity is what definitely makes me different from a lot of other guys out there. So we're gonna start our core four with Kyle Lowry. He was a play that I really, really liked. He wasn't my favorite play in the core four, but he was a play that I really liked. I thought he would be able to do very well against Ricky Rubio and that Minnesota perimeter defense. And he went out and at 24% owned. It was 6-game slate, so we knew the ownership was going to be high on a player of that caliber. He, at 8.2K in DraftKings salary, went out and scored 49 DraftKings points. That was exactly where we needed him. 48 would have been close to value. 49 was right there on target for 6x value. We got that from Kyle Lowry. The next play we're going to talk about is going to be John Wall. Now, this dude was almost 40% owned. And I'm going to tell you a mistake that I made tonight. I talk a lot about knowing and betting and playing the difference between daily fantasy sports knowledge and sports knowledge. Now, sports knowledge says that John Wall was an excellent play. He's been playing hot, just coming off of a 75-point DraftKings game. That's sports knowledge. But daily fantasy sports knowledge should have told us that we were in a great position to fade John Wall because we did have depth at the point guard position, which is why I liked Kyle Lowry so much to begin with. So this is a core four where there shouldn't have been 2 point guards in the same similar spot at that high of a price point on my core four. A guy called me out earlier like, yo, your core four is pretty expensive. Well, I fell in love with the long ball, man. I fell in love with that 75-point game that we saw, and we call that recency bias. It could be either good or bad, and he did regress to the mean because that 75 points and that 35 points in the middle of that is kind of where we can expect John Wall as the season goes on. So that was my bad. At 37% ownership, 9.5K, we saw a huge spike increase in his salary coming from, I think, 8.8. He went up 700 to 9.5 after that 75 point game. Excellent position to fade him, but most of us didn't. He scored 36.75 DraftKings points, a horrible showing for John Wall, and he kind of wrecked the core four for me. The next play we're going to talk about is Gorgui Dieng. Now, this dude was 9% owned. He was definitely in a good spot against the Washington front court, and he went out at 9% owned, 5.5K, had 24.25 DraftKings points. Didn't kill the core four, but he didn't get that 30.3, which would have been 6x value. He fell short from that. The next play we're going to get into was definitely a chalk play, especially after the Marc Gasol news broke. I think a lot of people that weren't on this guy shifted over to him because they were similarly priced on most sites. And this is Joel Embiid at 31% ownership, 7.5K in salary. We did see the increase from right around, I believe he was 6.8 on the other night out. He had 38.25 DraftKings points. Again, not a killer, but we needed at least 42 DraftKings points from Joel Embiid to make value. So all in all, the core four did not perform as well as I expected going into it in my selection. But that's why bankroll management is key, especially on these short slates. I wasn't in love with the slate, so I didn't go with my regular 10% buy-in. I went with 5%. So I have some. I live to fight another day, and I can definitely rear and gear up for this huge 9-game slate that we're going to see on DraftKings. I believe maybe 10 games on FanDuel tomorrow. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the feature 4 players of the night. These are the most talked about, tweeted about guys in the DFS sweatshop. These are the guys that we were talking about all night long, some for good and some for bad reasons. We're going to start, of course, with the who dat scoring all them points over there, player of the night. This is going to go to Joe Ingles, man. At 18% ownership, 3.4K. Dude goes out and scores 43.25 DraftKings points. He was in an excellent position, had a really great game, and that's why Joe Ingles is the who dat scoring all them points over there, player of the night. The how did I miss that play of the night goes to Marc Gasol, and I can tell you how we missed that. We got shitted on by the Utah Jazz PR team, man. They really dropped the ball on this one. We didn't know until after lock that he was going to be playing. 3% ownership ensued from there. 7.7K in salary, goes out and scores 51.25 DraftKings points. Had an excellent game. They beat the Portland Trail Blazers at the Grindhouse, and Marc Gasol is definitely the highlight. I missed that play of the night. I didn't have him anywhere. Most of us didn't. He was only 3% owned, and a couple of the leaders on the top were guys that I saw had the stones to keep them in their rosters. The next play we're going to talk about is going to be the heat check player tonight. This is the guy that just balled out. Had an awesome game, wonderful game, and he was also in the core 4, so I'm pretty happy about that. This is Kyle Lowry, like we said, at 24% owned, 8.2K. He had 49 DraftKings points, had an excellent game, played really well, and got the win against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, we've arrived at that one motherfucker. That one motherfucker who went out and fucked up all the lineups. Now, you know how hard this is for me because I love this player. This is one of my favorite players in the league, and I wait patiently, day in and day out, for this man to have one of his games. And we're talking about Dame Lillard. Now, Dame, I'm going to tell you, I copped your bullshit ass mixtape. Everybody think you can rap. How about you quit all that rapping on the mic and you rap that motherfucking ball in that basket, man, with your snowflake ass. Let's get back to focus. Not only did you lose the game, but you lost my money. And for that, tonight, Dame, small game, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. And I ain't gonna roster you again until the next time you're in one of them juicy matchups up against a sorry ass point guard. I'ma roster you now. But tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake, man. You can go to sleep with that shit and you can wake up cold as a motherfucking block of ice with your snowflake ass. Let's move on with the rest of the show. Now, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and do a quick recap of last night's games. We're gonna start. Before we do that, let's go ahead and look at my best DraftKings lineup. This is for the purposes of transparency, just so you can know my thought process in my roster selection and who I felt comfortable with. So, all right. Now, this is a lineup. Let's take a look right here. All right, now, my core 4 plays, you're going to see them. You're going to see a couple of them in this lineup. You're also going to see somebody who I had no intention of rostering. This is what you call a before lock panic. We're going to start with John Wall. He was definitely in the core 4, somebody I had here. I really liked Kyle Lowry, so you see him here. Those are my 2 core 4 plays. And I really wanted to get jiggy with the point guard. I wanted as many point guards as possible because we know that NBA is pace-oriented. And nobody controls the pace as much, like I said, as the best player on the floor. And in this game, Dame Lillard going up against the Memphis Grizzlies without Marc Gasol. Dame Lillard is the best player on the floor. I felt he would control the pace of the game and dictate the pace. I was not scared of the Memphis perimeter defense because Mike Conley is not playing. So I thought that Dame Lillard would be an excellent play in this game. Now, I also did have Marc Gasol right here. I did have Marc Gasol in the center spot. But when the news broke that he was questionable and might not play, it was so close to lock. I didn't know if I should keep him in the roster. So I said, you know what I'll do? I'll do the next best thing. I'll come down from Marc Gasol, go down to Zach Randolph, to Zebo, because he's going to get extended minutes with Marc Gasol out. And then that gave me enough money to pay up for Klay Thompson. Now, I already had Joe Ingles and Trey Lyles and Joe Johnson slated for this lineup already. But that was the change that I made, and it proved to be costly. This lineup netted me 237 DraftKings points. Did not cash. Was a horrible night. And that is going to happen in DFS from time to time. It is just one of those things. That's why we stick to our bankroll management. And we live to fight another day, especially on a larger slate. I'm glad I did not go too heavy because I would have been pissed. So we're going to go ahead and pull up tomorrow's player pricing pool just so when we get to that point in the show, we can keep it flowing smoothly for everyone out there. So let's go ahead and jump into a quick recap of last night's 6 games. The reason why we do this is because we want to know where we've been so we can know exactly what direction we want to get into. Crown apple. All right, now we're going to start in Toronto where the Minnesota Timberwolves came to town. It was an interesting narrative that came out halfway through the day. Andrew Wiggins is a Toronto guy, a Canada guy. He's going back home. He's going to have a great game. And that was very true. We saw Andrew Wiggins for 36 minutes. He had 25 points, 6 boards, and 1 assist. Really nice game from him. Gorgie Jang, we talked about him, 10, 7, and 3 with a steal. Also, we had Zach LaVine, who had a really nice game. I had him in a couple spots. He had 29 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists for him. Ricky Rubio underwhelmed in his 29 minutes. And we also saw Karl Anthony Towns, who was definitely on the list to become tonight's snowflake. But he got beat out by big game Dame Lillard, his old rapping ass. 17 points, 11 boards, and 1 assist with a block for him. On the Toronto side, we saw an excellent game from DeMar DeRozan, man. 27 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Nice game from him. DeMar Carroll really stepped up and played very well in 33 minutes. He had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Hit some big shots down the stretch, too. Now, a steal at the center position tonight was Jonas Valanciunas. In 28 minutes, he had 20 points, 10 boards, 1 assist, and 1 block. He did hit the double-double bonus. That is always nice when you get a guy that cheap to hit the double-double. We saw Kyle Lowry for 38 minutes. We talked about him already. He dished out 11 dimes, had 25 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 steal. Chris Joseph in 19 minutes had 12 points, a rebound, 2 assists, and 1 block. Nice game from Chris Joseph. If you're rostered him, the next game we're going to get into is going to be the Washington Wizards at home against the Denver Nuggets. This was a pretty good game, very entertaining game, but John Wall seemed like he was drunk for the first half. I mean, he didn't do much at all. Finished at halftime like 15 points. I knew it was going to be a long night because I had 100% exposure to John Wall. My mistake. He would have been a great fade on tonight's slate. But we're going to start with the Denver side. Danilo Gallinari, 31 minutes, had 14 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Not a very good game from him. Jameer Nelson had an excellent game, 10 points, 4 boards, 8 assists, and 2 steals from him. Nikola Jokic continued his good play. Mike Malone, start this dude, man. Just fucking start this dude. This dude is a fucking monster, man. He only played 27 minutes. He had 17 points and 11 boards with an assist and a block. Great game from Nikola Jokic. We saw Wilson Chandler shit the bed for 32 minutes. He had 5 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. Not a great game from him. And I got into it with this dude today about Jamal Murray. I was big on Jamal Murray until about halfway through the day. I was like, you know what? I don't like that dude that much, especially when the Utah news broke and we knew that Gordon Hayward was going to be out. We knew Rodney Hood was going to be out. And we knew that it was Hayward, Hill, and somebody else was going to be out. Well, we knew that it was going to be fucked up for Utah. So I didn't like Jamal Murray much after that. I actually pivoted to Tony Allen. I like Tony Allen after that. He was next on my list. So not a great game at all from Jamal Murray. And 17 points off of the bench. He had 6 points, 2 boards, and 2 assists with a steal. And a lot of that decrease in the minutes off the bench we saw was because of Jameer Nelson just playing so well. Jameer Nelson played a very good game, and he ended up getting 36 minutes of playing time. Will Barton, not a very good game from him. 42 minutes, 11 points, 2 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals. Not a great game from Wilson Chandler. Of course, we talked about him. Just an overall underwhelming performance for a lot of the Denver players that we were highly touted coming into the slate. I know a lot of guys were on Wilson Chandler. He was about 30% owned in most GPPs, but he just did not play very well at all. On the Washington side, we saw a very nice game from Markeith Morris. He had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Nice game from him. Brad Beal in 36 minutes had 26 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. This was a dude who, in years past, we thought was so fragile that we could not roster him with confidence. He has definitely shed that, or is beginning to shed that injury-prone tag, and he's going out. He's playing meaningful minutes. Really great game from Brad Beal. We talked about John Wall already, 15 points and 7 boards to go with 5 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. Not a good game from him. Otto Porter underwhelmed in his 36 minutes. He had 9 points, 5 boards, 1 assist, 3 steals, and 1 block. Kind of a little bright spot off of the game was Kelly Oubre Jr., man. In 25 minutes, he had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Pretty good game from him at that low price point. And Martin Gortat definitely underwhelmed in his 35 minutes. He had 4 points, 7 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. Not a great game from him. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies at the Grindhouse, taking on the Portland Trailblazers. This is the game our Snowflake came from. We're going to start on his side of the ball and just run through his numbers real quick. Not a great game from Dame Lillard. 19 points to go with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. This is not what you need from a guy that's above 8K. At 8.3K, we need more from you, Dame. Drop the mic, pick up the ball, and put it in the motherfucking basket. Evan Turner had a really nice game. 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists from him. That was a double-double. Al-Farouq Aminu in 23 minutes off of the bench is just getting his legs back under him. He did get 11 boards and 5 points to go with 2 assists and 2 steals. Pretty nice game from him. Ed Davis grabbed a double-double in 18 minutes, 10 points, 10 boards, a couple blocks, and an assist. We also saw Mason Plumlee for a little while. He had 4 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 block in 30 minutes. Not very great for him. And CJ McCollum, man, he started off the first half shooting very hot. Didn't miss a shot in the first half, but he ended up with only 24 points, an assist, and a steal. Not a great game from CJ McCollum. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans at home against the Philadelphia 76ers. Don't look now, but the Sixers have won a game. And they did so with Ersan Ilyasova leading the way in points. He is definitely a thing. I would not start Okafor or give Okafor that many minutes. He would be like the third guy off of the bench if I was coaching the Philadelphia 76ers. In 31 minutes, Ilyasova had 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists with a steal. Great game from him. We saw Joel Embiid for 27 minutes. He had 14 and 7 to go with 2 assists, 3 steals, and 4 blocks. That was a pretty nice game from him. Sergio Rodriguez was actually an excellent play on today. He had 8 dimes, 1 steal, 4 rebounds, and 16 points. Very nice game from him. We saw Dario Saric for 25 minutes. He had 13 and 5. And Sauce, too much Sauce, Nick Stauskas had 14 points to go with 2 rebounds and 5 assists. Robert Covington, he did play 31 minutes in his first game back from injury, but they were not meaningful minutes, man. He said he had 7 points, 7 boards, and a triple one with an assist, a steal, and a block. On the New Orleans Pelicans side, Anthony Davis and Langston Galloway was the only guys who really put in work. And Galloway had 19 points and 4 rebounds to go with 2 assists with 1 steal. Pretty good game from him at that price point. And of course, Anthony Davis had 26 points, grabbed 11 boards, 2 assists, and 2 blocks. And at 11K, high on 11K, we didn't see what we wanted to see from Anthony Davis. He was a complete fave for me. I had him in 1 FanDuel lineup, and that was just a hedge, just in case I was wrong about all of my other lineups. He didn't play that very well at all. We saw Buddy Hield for 34 minutes, and you gotta think that in 34 minutes, with a guy trying to prove himself as a rookie, to play well was what he would do, and he did not. He had 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists in his 34 minutes. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the Golden State Warriors going to Utah to take on the Jazz. Now, there's something to be said about playing up or down to the competition, because the other night, Golden State could not do any wrong against the Clippers. They beat the shit out of the Clippers and go to a shorthanded Utah team, of course, at Utah in Salt Lake City, and blow a 25-point lead, let Utah back in the game. Not a very great game from anybody on the Golden State side, with the exception of Draymond Green. He flirted with a triple-double, had 13 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 4 steals. Nice game from him. We saw a mediocre game from Kevin Durant at that $10K price tag. In 36 minutes, he had 21 points, 11 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. We saw a decent game from Steph Curry in 35 minutes. He had 26 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And when I was watching the game, it looked like every time I was turning my head, like Ian Clark had the ball in his hands. 20 minutes, 6 points, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Not a great game from Ian Clark if you chose to use him as a punt option when you found out that Iguodala wasn't going to play, but he did. And in 23 minutes, he had 4 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists for him. On the Utah side, we saw a really nice game from Rudy Gobert, man, 20 and 17. Now, you know, the stats and the DVOAs and all that shit would tell you that, oh, Golden State is number 1 against the center position. Well, not tonight. Rudy Gobert had a fucking game. He grabbed 17 boards, had an assist, and a block with 20 points. Nice game from him. Joe Johnson was not the Joe Johnson that started the season shooting hot, scoring 40 points. He had 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 steal. Actually, Joe Ingles, of course, was the play of this game. He had 21 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, and a block. Nice game from him. We saw Trey Lyles for about 22 minutes. He had 9 points and 6 rebounds to go with 2 assists and a steal. And Boris Diaw, in his 26 minutes of action, had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Didn't see much from anybody else, with the exception of Shelvin Mack. He did have a good game. 19 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals for old Shelvin Mack. The last game on the slate was the San Antonio Spurs going to Chicago to take on the Bulls. This was a pretty good game throughout. It was a really good game. Very entertaining, but it was low scoring. And we saw 20 and 5 from Dwayne Wade, continuing his hot streak. I don't know why. I cannot get on him. Rajon Rondo further with the triple-double, had 9 assists, 10 boards, and 12 points to go with 2 steals. Pretty good game from him. Jimmy Butler definitely underwhelmed in his 38 minutes. He had 13 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, and 2 steals. And we saw Robin Lopez for 24 minutes have 12 points and 4 rebounds with a block. Pretty decent game from him at his price point. And don't forget about Nikolai Mirotic, man. In 22 minutes, he had 9.6 boards, 2 assists, and 2 steals. On the San Antonio side, we saw Kawhi Leonard for about 38 minutes, and he had a fairly decent game, especially when you factor it into what he has been doing as of late. He had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal. And Paul Gasol, playing against his former team, returning to Chicago, he had a very good game. 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists to go with a block. Nice game from him. We saw Patty Mills for 23 minutes, and in those minutes, he had 16 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Not a great game from LaMarcus Aldridge. This dude is in a slump. He hasn't been playing well all year long. He had 10 points, 6 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 4 blocks. Not a great game from LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, let us go ahead and jump into the player pool for tomorrow. This is the player pricing pool. What we do, we want to get a feel for what everybody's price is, see where they are, and how we may be able to exploit them. Let's get to all players. We're going to start with the most expensive players on the slate. Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is almost $13,000 in salary. 12.8K for Russell Westbrook. There's no way. I don't care. I'm not doing it. There's no way. I would not have him in one single roster tomorrow. I'm not doing it. This dude has to go out and score like 80 points just to make value. And I'm not doing it. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You can do it if you want to, but I'm not. We've got James Harden at 11.5K. There's no way you can get the two of them on the team. No way. I like James Harden tomorrow, but that price is still a little bit too high. I'm not gonna go Harden either. We've got DeMarcus Cousins against the New York Knicks, who is definitely in play at 10.9. I like Boogie tomorrow. Giannis Antetokounmpo will be the perfect pivot off of Westbrook and Harden if you wanted to pay up to the top dogs That would be a nice play. We've got LeBron James at at Cleveland against Miami. This game is probably going to be a blowout, so I do not think that we're going to see the full 4 quarters of LeBron, which is what I need to see at that price point in order to roster him with confidence. We've got Hassan Whiteside in the same game at 8.8. I don't really like that very much either, but I like that more than I like LeBron. Karl Anthony Towns coming off a bad game, going up against Andre Drummond. I think he's in play here for 8.3. Kyle Lowry against Boston without without Isaiah Thomas. I like Kyle Lowry again tomorrow. This is the second leg of a back-to-back, but I still like him. You've got Paul George at the Dallas Mavericks. I love that play at 8K flat. Only thing is this game could blow out, but I do like Paul George in this game. DeMar DeRozan at Boston, going up at 7.9, going up against a little Avery Bradley defense. Nah, I don't want that. I like Porzingis tomorrow at 7.7 against the Sacramento Kings. I like him. Maybe he can draw Boogie out and shoot the deep shot. Maybe get some rebounds for the other team. We got Andre Drummond at 7.6. I like him against Cat in Minnesota. He's going to do some really good rebounding. Kevin Love at 7.6. No. Millsap, questionable. Milwaukee, 7.5. No, I don't like that. Goran Dragic going up against Kyle Lowry defense, which is no defense at all. 7.5. I kind of like that. Eric Bledsoe, I love this play tomorrow against the Lakers at 7.4. That price is kind of low on him. He's been underperforming the last few games, so I don't see a lot of people being on him anyway. I like Eric Bledsoe tomorrow. Isaiah Thomas, of course, is out. We're probably going to see some Marcus Smart and some Terry Rozier, who had a really good game out last time. We got Carmelo Anthony at 7.3. Him going up against Rudy Gay. I can dig it. Dwight Howard at 7.2. Milwaukee going up against a collection of guys starting with John Henson and probably ending somewhere around Mike Beasley and Greg Monroe. I don't like him too much. Of course, my main man Kemba is at home. A lot of people are gonna see that DVP at 2 and shy away from him. But you know how I feel about Kemba at home. I like him at home tomorrow. Kyrie Irving, no thank you. 7.1 against Miami. Al Horford looks like a pretty decent play tomorrow going up against Jonas Valanciunas. He's a lot more mobile. I like him tomorrow at 6.9. We've got Rudy Gay going up against the Knicks, seeing some Carmelo Anthony defense, which is no defense, so I like Rudy Gay tomorrow at 6.7. Lou Williams, no, you can keep that. Avery Bradley going up against DeMar DeRozan at 6.5. I kind of like him. Vic Oladipo, I love. See, I want to get exposure to Westbrook, and if he makes value for you and scores that 80 points, hopefully he will have dished some dimes to Vic Oladipo, who I really love tomorrow because he's going to be matched up with James Harden. We know what time that is. No defense for James Harden, so I do like him at 6.5. The only reason why I would think about rostering Nicholas Batum tomorrow is because I like Kemba, so he is definitely in play for me. We've got Jeff Teague at Dallas. The DVP is 10th, but I still like him against the Dallas Mavericks. Jabari Parker at 6.4. He's definitely in play. Wiggins, no thank you on him. D'Angelo Russell, he did practice, but I'm not sure if he's going to be playing tomorrow. Derrick Rose, we still need to get the news on Derrick Rose. We had those back spasms going up against the Sacramento Kings. If he does play, that takes Melo out of consideration for me, and I kind of would like a piece of Derrick Rose. I know the ownership is going to be low because he's coming off of being hurt. Harrison Barnes at 6.1 could be a decent play. Well, the DVP is 13th, and Paul George hasn't been playing, and he's a really good defender. So I think I might want to stay away from Harrison Barnes tomorrow. We got Dennis Schroeder at 6K. I like him. Until that price gets around 7K, I like Dennis Schroeder. Zach LaVine against Detroit. Now I don't like that. 6K. Serge Ibaka going against the Charlotte Hornets. You can definitely attack the Charlotte Hornets rebounding. You definitely can. So I like Serge Ibaka tomorrow. I like Darren Williams going up against Jeff Teague at 6K. That price is a little up on him, but he's a very good player. I like him. Julius Randle at 6K is definitely in play. Vucevic is in play against Charlotte. Miles Turner, not so much. Devin Booker. If he did anything else besides score, he would be in play for me against the LA Lakers, but I don't want to get too much of a Phoenix offense that's not very good. I like Bledsoe. That's where I'm going to stay. Tobias Harris, no thank you against Minnesota. Jay Crowder looks like a decent play against the Toronto Raptors in Boston at 5.7. KCP, no. Clint Capella, the DVP is 10th. But I like Clint Capella tomorrow. This is how I'm going to get my exposure to James Harden and to Russell Westbrook. I like Clint Capella, and I like Vic Oladipo. Dion Waiters, we got to check on him, make sure he's going to be playing. Marcus Smart, who I think is in play at 5.5 if he does start against Toronto. Eric Gordon, 5.5, no thank you. Trevor Ariza, 5.5, he's in play tomorrow. We've got Gorgie Jang at 5.4, no. Tyler Johnson at 5.5, no thank you. Jordan Clarkson, I like Jordan Clarkson more than I like Lou Williams tomorrow at 5.4. Evan Fournier at 5.3. He's in play tomorrow, definitely. Brandon Jennings, if Rose is out, Jennings at 5.3, that's a lot for him. But against Sacramento, it may be well worth it. We got to check on Reggie Jackson's minutes to see if there's an increase in store for him. If there is, I do like him at 5.2. Marcus Morris, 5.1, no thank you. Wesley Matthews, no thank you at 5.1. Steven Adams, no. Darren Collison, he likes to hit the chicks. DVP is 7th. I don't like him against the New York Knicks. Dirk's out. JJ Barea out. Valanciunas against Boston. Now, this is going to be a way to attack Boston's defense, rebounding defense. So I kind of do like Valanciunas. I have to get a rebounder from this game, and it's going to be either Valanciunas or it's going to be DeMarre Carroll. So I do like some to attack Boston rebounding the basketball. You've got Ricky Rubio at 4.9. No, thank you. Justice Winslow, we got to check and make sure he's going to be out. Tristan Thompson against Miami. I think he's definitely a good play at 4.9. The salary is just too cheap on him. We saw an excellent game out last time for Patrick Beverley. I think we see that again. He's at 4.8. I do like Patrick Beverley tomorrow. That's going to be how I get my Harden exposure. Either Patrick Beverley or Clint Capella or a combination of the two. Josh Richardson was out. Ryan Anderson, 23rd, 4.7K. He's playable here. Dwight Powell at 4.7 is definitely playable against the Dallas Mavericks. Thad Young, 4.7, no thank you. Brandon Knight, no thank you. John Henson, I don't want that. Wayne Ellington, if he starts, I still don't like him. Lobra is questionable at 4.5. I love Thabo Sefolosha tomorrow against Milwaukee. I think he's going to be a really good play. He would probably be guarding Giannis a lot. He might be guarding Giannis a lot. And I kind of like him because that means he's going to be on the floor. So I do like him at 4.4K because we know that Kent Bazemore is out and Tim Hardaway Jr. is not very good. Greg Monroe, no thank you. And his Cantor at 4.4. I don't like him very much. Brandon Ingram, little consideration, might be okay. Tyson Chandler against the LA Lakers. I don't like him. I don't want too many pieces of the Phoenix game. John Lure at 4.3, maybe a decent play against Minnesota. MKG, no thank you. Elfrid Payton against Charlotte, no thank you for him. Bismack, he's probably going to be starting the game. We can attack Charlotte rebounding, but Bismack does not score the ball enough for me to roster him with confidence. We've got Larry Nance Jr. We're going to make sure he's going to be playing tomorrow. That might not be a bad play at 4.3. Andre Roberson. The only time I roster Roberson is when I have Westbrook. I don't know why. I'm going to take a look at him closer tomorrow. Marvin Williams at 4.2. The price is still cheap on him, and he's still shooting very well. DeMarre Carroll, who I said I like as a cheap rebounding option up against the Boston front court at 4.1. Matt Barnes, he is in play against the Knicks at 4.1. I like him. CJ Miles, no thank you. Monte Ellis, the price is so down on Monte Ellis tomorrow. I like him at that 4.1 price tag. I do. Wesley Matthews does not play good defense. I like Monte Ellis tomorrow. Norman Powell, no. Bogut is going to be out. Pat, maybe a decent play rebounding off of the bench against the Boston front court at 4K flat. You got Delly at 4K, no. Tim Hardaway, no. Mike Muscala, Ish Smith coming off of the bench. Aaron Gordon is still 4K against Charlotte as a cheap rebounder against them. Cody Zeller, who I really like tomorrow at 4K. If I'm rostering Kimba tomorrow, I'm gonna go either Cody Zeller or Nick Batum. I am. Kyle O'Quinn at 4K flat. This is a revenge game for him. He actually played with the Sacramento Kings. He may want to go out and play well. So that's somebody you might be able to look at as a center punt at 4K. PJ Tucker 4K. Bebe Nogueira 3.9. Rodney McGruder. Terry Rozier is at 3.8. That's not a lot for a guy that's going to be seeing that much minutes with Isaiah Thomas being out. Got Sam Decker at 3.8. He's still the same, which is not a bad play if you're looking for a punt at the small forward position. Courtney Lee at 3.8. Not a bad play there. Terrence Ross 3.7. So tomorrow, man, 9-game slate. We've got a lot on deck for tomorrow. We've got Joakim Noah down to 3.6 against the Sacramento Kings. That might not be a bad play if you're trying to punt that position. Salah Mejri 3.6 against Indiana. Not a bad play there. If you're looking for a punt at center, Tony Snell, no. Montrezl Harrell, no. Malcolm Brogdon. Domantas Sabonis is down to 3.2. He is a starter in this game. It's going to be a high-paced game. We may want to look at Domantas Sabonis if we are trying to punt that forward position. Hernan. All right, Marcellus Huertas, who had a very good game last time. We've got to check to see if I think Calderon is going to be out. Last I heard, D'Angelo Russell did practice, so we got to check on that. If not, I like Huertas. I mean, at 3,200, I mean he's worth a tournament punt. I mean, Johnson at 3.1, Jeremy Grant, no. So now we are scraping the bottom of the barrel. So let us go ahead and first pull up some good players who we probably going to be rostering. And we're going to jump into tomorrow's 9-game slate, do a little quick point total analysis. Let's start. Let's start in Charlotte, where the Orlando Magic are coming to town to take on the Charlotte Hornets. This is a 200.5 point total, with the Charlotte Hornets being the home favorite. They are giving up 6.5 points, so I definitely like a few plays in this game. We talked about some of them already. Kemba is at home. You know how I feel about Kemba at home. I like it. You can fire him up. So whenever I play Kemba at home, I've got to grab another piece of that because he's such a team-oriented player. This is such a hustle, scrappy, blue-collar, all-in-together team that I do like. I do like Marvin Williams. I think Nick Batum is definitely in play. He would probably be the play with the lowest floor, because Orlando does play well against winning players, but I do like him anyway. I like him because he can stretch the floor and shoot the long jump shots. Pace is going to be in favor of the Charlotte Hornets because the pace is always dictated by the best player on the court, and that is going to be Kemba Walker tomorrow. So I do like him on the Charlotte side. On the Orlando side, if we want to target Charlotte anywhere, we need to target him rebounding. So that's going to lead me to like Nikolai Vucevic off of the bench. I think he's going to be a really good play tomorrow. He's going to be seeing some Frank Kaminsky, a little bit of he's going to see a little bit of Cody Zeller, but he's going to see a lot if this guy gets minutes of Roy Hibbert, and he will destroy Roy Hibbert. So I do like Vucevic in tomorrow's game. Also, Aaron Gordon definitely deserves consideration. He's been playing well lately, and I like Ibaka. Except that price is a little bit high on him, but I do think that we can look to him to maybe get us a double-double at his price point. The next game we're going to talk about is going to be the Boston Celtics at home against the Toronto Raptors. Now, Toronto Raptors are on a back-to-back. There's no Isaiah Thomas for this game. There is no point total for this game at the moment, but I can predict that it's right around 200, very close to 200, a little bit, maybe a little over. And for that reason, to attack the Boston rebounding, I think Valanciunas is going to be in play. We need to watch his minutes because he was kind of hobbled, but he did have a decent game last night. So we got to watch him. If you want to go a different route when it comes to attacking them, rebounding the basketball, you can go to DeMar Carroll. I do, of course, like Kyle Lowry in this game. I'm always a little squeamish about rostering DeMar DeRozan, but especially in a matchup like this against Avery Bradley. I like Avery Bradley more as opposed. I'm going to talk about shooting guards in this game than I like DeMar Carroll. So on the Boston side, I think Al Horford is going to be in play in this game. This is a stackable game. This definitely is. This is a stackable game. I like this game. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers at home in a 210.5 point total against the Miami Heat. Now, the Cavs are giving up 13.5 points to the Miami Heat. So that's telling me I'm not going to be seeing a lot of LeBron. So he's going to be out of consideration for me. Even though Cleveland has not, particularly blown out all the people they're supposed to, they blowed out the last team they're supposed to blow out, which was my New York Knicks. And for that reason, I think the Cleveland Cavs are starting to roll a little bit. So I do not like very much from this game at all. There's probably nowhere I would go in this game. On a 9-game slate with that much stuff out there, I don't think that I should invest what it's going to take to get a part of the Cleveland blowout. So I will leave that to everyone else. We do have a good price, a good discount on Hassan Whiteside. So he may receive some consideration as the day goes on. But just looking at it on first glance, man, I really don't want too much to do with this game. The next game we're going to talk about is the Atlanta Hawks going to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. This is a 208-point total with a very close point spread. Milwaukee is only giving up 2.5 to the Atlanta Hawks. So on the Atlanta side, Dwight Howard's in play. Millsap is in play. I like Thabo Sefolosha a lot as a cheaper shooting guard option, and as well as Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is the captain of this team, man. He is balling lately. He's reached, I believe, 6x value in the last 4 games. I like him. We've also got on the other side of the ball Giannis Antetokounmpo. The price is up on him. He is at 10K flat. So we're going to need at least 60 for him to help us to get to the 300 club. I don't know how doable that is. He had 61 in his last game out. I just don't know how doable that is because he's going to have to rebound the ball, kind of approach a triple-double in order to make that 60-point value for us. And I wouldn't suggest that he can do that against the Atlanta Hawks. The next game, we're going to... wait a minute, because I do like Jabari Parker in this game. I think Jabari Parker's going to be a really good play in this game, too. So I like Jabari Parker. On the next game we'll talk about is the Detroit Pistons going to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are in the second game of a back-to-back. It is a 204-point total with the Detroit Pistons giving up 2. So Minnesota is a home dog. And for that reason, there are a couple guys that I like in this game. I like Karl Anthony Towns against Drummond to have a bounce-back game. And I like Gorgui Dieng in this game, too. I think Gorgui Dieng can play a decent role in this game. The Minnesota perimeter is what I really do not like. I don't like Rubio in this game. I don't like Zach LaVine very much in this game. And I definitely don't like Wiggins at his price point. On the Detroit side, though, Tobias Harris could be in play here. Of course, Andre Drummond is going to be in play. These are both teams that run Minnesota definitely runs a quick pace. And when Ish Smith is on the floor, he takes off and he really gets the ball down the court a lot of times before the offense can even get a chance to set up. That's something that he does that I kind of, don't like about him, and it puts the offense in bad situations and puts the defense in rebounding situations because they usually get a quick shot off. So I do like the Minnesota rebounding in this game, but not the perimeter. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder at home in a 225-point total against the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are giving up 1 point, so that means the Oklahoma City Thunder are the home dog. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to roster Westbrook at all. Harden definitely deserves some consideration just because these are the two highest paced point guard led teams in the league. So we're going to see a lot of possessions, a lot of shots, a lot of missed shots, a lot of rebounds, which has me really liking Clint Capella on the Houston side, as well as Pat Beverly on the Houston side. I probably won't have very much Harden, maybe in a lineup or two, but I do want to get a piece of what he does, and to do that, I will be going to Pat Beverly or Clint Capella on the Oklahoma City side. I want to do the same thing, so I think Vic Oladipo is really in play. Plus, not only is he going to be running in a high pace, high total game with Russell Westbrook as a teammate, but he's going to be seeing James Harden defense. So I love Oladipo tomorrow. I think he's going to be a really good play. As far as the Oklahoma City bigs, Steven Adams is somebody who I really don't want to roster very much. I would take my chances with Cantor coming off of the bench, because he's going to be seeing the likes of the Montrezl Harrells and Nene Hilario. Those guys, I think he really can get off against them. So he was the one who I would like as far as an Oklahoma City big. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Dallas Mavericks at home against the Indiana Pacers. This is a 200.5 point total, with the Indiana Pacers giving up 4.5 to the Dallas Mavericks. Paul George would be my favorite play in this game. And early in the season, we didn't see Dallas being able to score much points at all, but they've kind of gotten some things together. They've accepted the fact that Dirk Nowitzki is not going to be back soon. Harrison Barnes has kind of taken the team as his own. We've seen some guys off of the bench that have been wanting to get playing time for the last couple of years step in and play fairly well, and I think the game is going to be right around what the point total says, and it's going to be close enough to where we're going to see a full allotment of minutes from both sides on both sides on the floor. So a sneaky play in this game for me is, we just talked about him, as Monte Ellis. I like Monte Ellis in this game. The price point on him is so low. This is as low as I've seen Monte Ellis in a couple years. So I do like him tomorrow. I think Darren Williams, even though the price is up to $6K on him, I think he's going to be a good play. Harrison Barnes is somebody I would stay away from, because I just like I like Paul George as a defender, and I think Paul George is going to have a very good game. Now, we know that Harrison Barnes sees a lot of usage, so that means that Paul George is going to have a lot of opportunities to get turnovers, to get blocks, to go to the basket with Harrison Barnes and maybe get some rebounds, to know that Harrison Barnes is about to shoot that jumper and go and get the rebound when it comes off. So I do like, and also to go out to run out in transition too. So I think Paul George is going to be a really good play as long as this game stays close. On the next game we're going to talk about is the LA Lakers at home against the Phoenix Suns. This is a very nice point total. It's 217 points, with Phoenix receiving a point and a half. So the LA Lakers are the home favorite, and for that reason, I do like Julius Randle. I think Marcelo Huertas, if he does start, can be a decent play. On the Phoenix side, I love the position that Eric Bledsoe was in. I really like Eric Bledsoe in this game. Devin Booker can be a good play because shooting guards against LA usually play well, but he just doesn't do much in the way of the peripheral stats that we need in order for him to smash value. With him scoring, he can probably make value scoring. But when you're looking for a guy on a 9-game DraftKings slate to like smash value, maybe get a double-double, flirt with a triple-double, he's not somebody who comes to mind. Speaking of Devin Booker, PJ Tucker, no, is not in play for me in this game. I think you can give some consideration to Tyson Chandler going up against Mozgov, because we can see Tyson Chandler go out and grab 15 boards and score 10 points and get us a really nice big double-double for cheap. So he's somebody who deserves consideration. We know that Tariq Black is going to be out this game. Is that going to be more minutes for a big off of the LA Lakers bench? Maybe Larry Nance? Could be. For that reason, I think I kind of do like Larry Nance in this game. Jordan Clarkson can be a decent play in this game as well. And I would steer clear of Brandon Knight. I just don't like Brandon Knight in this matchup. And with the game flow and how I'm thinking the pace is gonna play itself out, I think there's not going to be a reason to take Bledsoe off of the floor much the way it was in the last game, which was why we saw an increased amount of usage and minutes and scoring for Brandon Knight. The last game on the slate is going to be my New York Knicks going to Sacramento to take on the Kings. Boogie is going to destroy. I like him tomorrow. I think it's going to be a very good play. It's the last game on the slate. The ownership is not going to be as high as it should be because people want to see their money at 7 o'clock. So I definitely will have some shares of Boogie against either Joakim Noah or Kyle O'Quinn. Just because Boogie is such a great play and he scores a lot of points doesn't mean that he doesn't give up some. So I definitely think Porzingis is going to be a good play in this game too. I would steer clear of Carmelo Anthony. I like Rudy Gay more than I like Carmelo Anthony in this game. He's more a part of the dirty work part. Like he will go get rebounds. He will assist the ball. He will play hard on both ends. Whereas Melo is just working for that 13 to 20 foot jump shot. So I don't like Carmelo Anthony very much in this game. We need to check on some news because there's no point total for this game because of the Derrick Rose injury. We may see a lot of Brandon Jennings. The price is up on him just a little bit. I think he's at 5.2K. He's rosterable, but there are other places we can go. I mean, if you ask me to choose between Patrick Beverly at 4.8K and Brandon Jennings at 5.2, I'm going Beverly every time, especially in that up-pace, high-tempo game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. I went through everything, broke down the games for you, started you off right. Hopefully by now there is a player pool that is swirling around in your head so that when you lay down and you think about it and you get up in the morning and you come up with your core four, no matter what you listen to while you're looking around the industry to get those other two plays, and you're checking the injury reports to get those other two plays from there, nothing will take you off of the core that you developed in your head. Thank you all for supporting the show. There's many ways that you can do that. The best way is what you're doing right now, giving me a voice. Thank you so much for your views on YouTube. But there's other ways to support the show. We've got the Sweatshop swag going hard for the under. You can go ahead and check that out. It's going to be in a link below the video. It is a 300 Club t-shirts, 100% Gildan cotton, 300 Club DFS Sweatshop hoodies that you can definitely get. There's a little button over here that says support the show. It's a tip jar that YouTube leaves for us. You're definitely welcome to hit that up. Or if you want to support my personal PayPal, it is simmonsmaurice95@yahoo.com. But there's another way. You can go ahead and you can become part of the DFS Sweatshop family. You go to the website www.dfssweatshop.com. There you can register for exclusive access to our spreadsheets, our daily newsletter, the Core 4 plays, as well as the Core 4 strategy building process. There are in-depth videos that take you step by step how to do it the way we do it to become a profitable DFS player. But first and foremost, I would love for everyone out there to go out, have a profitable Friday, and remember to always keep it 300.